Welcome back to the channel. In this video I want to talk about the iPad lineup in 2023 and how that's going to change in 2024. Thank you for watching iTablet. Be sure to like this video, subscribe and comment #iTablet to enter the iPad mini giveaway when the channel reaches 2,000 subscribers. At the moment the lineup is pretty confusing because we have everything from the iPad mini all the way to the iPad Pro and these models in between. And when users come to the Apple Store, they are often quite confused about which one to buy. The reason for that is because it's quite hard to understand why there are two base level iPads. Also, when you go up to the higher end of the spectrum with the iPad Air and then also the iPad Pro, the smaller iPad Pro and the Air are so similar that it's very difficult for users to understand why they should spend more money to get this one over the regular iPad Air. So the reason why it's built this way in 2023 is because Tim Cook wants to create the price ladder, which means that when you come to the store thinking you're going to buy the cheapest iPad for your child or the entry-level iPad for yourself, you see this model, but then you see all the drawbacks of having the Lightning ports and the Lightning Apple Pencil and also the home button, and it looks so old-fashioned compared to the iPad's 10th generation. So then when you start speccing this one out and you take more storage and you buy a Magic Keyboard and an Apple Pencil, you start to compare the price to the iPad Air, and then you realize, well, you know, for just a little bit more money you can buy the iPad Air. And then when you add that Apple Pencil and that Magic Keyboard, you start to enter iPad Pro territory, which means that you may as well just buy the most expensive iPad. So this is a very clever price ladder because it gets you into the door with the cheapest price and quickly upsells you to the most expensive iPad. Obviously there's a psychological limit and there's also a limit to people's budgets, and I think people just end up buying the iPad Air just because it feels like the right one to buy and has the fewest number of drawbacks when compared to the entry-level iPads. So I think that Apple will make the following changes in 2024. The iPad mini will most likely remain unchanged, but they will most likely give it a spec bump at the end of 2024. The entry-level iPad with the Lightning port and the home button and the thick bezels will most likely be discontinued, which means that there will be no more Lightning ports on any of Apple's iPads. The 10.9-inch iPad Pro will most likely stay within the lineup and will most likely get a spec bump next year. And then where things start getting interesting is with the iPad Pro and the iPad Air. Just as with the MacBook lineup at the moment, it's quite easy to understand the difference between Pro and Air. Air means the MacBook for everyone, and Pro means the MacBook for people who want to do the most with their device. At the moment, the lineup for 2023, the Air and the Pro are still too similar in their capabilities and also look too similar. So it's very difficult for users to understand the difference between the two. In 2024, this will change because Apple will take a leaf from the MacBook playbook and they will make the following changes, which means the 10.9 will be the base iPad Air, and then they'll introduce a 12.9-inch model, which is the same size as the iPad Pro you're looking at right now. But the only difference is that instead of it having the micro LED technology, it'll have a liquid retina display. So it'll look exactly the way this one does at the moment. It'll just have slightly worse hardware. Then with the iPad Pro, Apple will bump up the screen sizes so that when people come to the Apple Store and they start to compare the models, these ones are physically larger. So the Pro will be the biggest version of the iPad that you can get out of the entire lineup. So that cleans up this part of the lineup and means that it's very easy for users to visually distinguish Pro from Air. So that means that the 2024 lineup is quite easy to understand. Mini, iPad, iPad Air, and iPad Pro. That means that when people come to the Apple Store and they start looking at the regular iPad, they will quickly be upsold to the iPad Air just because this has better accessories and is a slightly better iPad than the regular iPad. And obviously for the Pro, it's going to be very easy to distinguish the two just because it'll be the most iPad you can buy. The biggest, the best accessories, and all those things. So then when we look at keyboards, Apple will make the following changes in 2024. To further distinguish the iPad Pro from the iPad Air, they will introduce a new design for the Magic Keyboard in a ultra premium design made of aluminium. This model of the keyboard will also have the largest trackpad, which means it'll visually look different from the Magic Keyboard that we have at the moment with the iPad Pro and the iPad Airs, but it won't be compatible with the iPad Air. That means that iPad Pro will get the best accessories, and those accessories will not be backwards compatible with any of the other iPad models, which is great because then it's very easy for users to understand the best keyboard goes with the best iPad. The regular Magic Keyboard goes with the regular iPad Air. And obviously this weird keyboard with a kickstand that goes with the regular iPad, and the iPad mini gets no keyboards because it's too small. When we get to the Apple Pencil, it's going to be slightly different because all the Apple Pencils will work across the board with all the iPads. There will most likely be a third generation Apple Pencil with magnetic tips or something like that, which means that it'll look different from what we have at the moment, which is the second generation Apple Pencil, because the tips will be different somehow. That new Apple Pencil will most likely work with the Pro, the Air, and the iPad, and the iPad mini, so across the board. The second generation Apple Pencil will most likely be discontinued, so that Apple can only sell the third generation Apple Pencil with the better capabilities. And then the Apple Pencil with USB-C will probably still remain in the lineup, because the regular iPad can't charge the regular Apple Pencil magnetically. Then when we get to the first generation Apple Pencil, this one will still work with the regular iPad, but there's no need for Apple to sell this one anymore or create this one anymore. So I guess that this one will be going away. That is the lineup for 2024. Much cleaner, much easier to understand. Pro has the best hardware, is the largest, and comes with more premium accessories. Air comes with the standard accessories that we know at the moment, plus works with the regular Apple Pencil, and most likely the best Apple Pencil as well. The entry-level iPad has a different keyboard and visually looks different from the rest of the line, and works with most of the Apple Pencils as well. And iPad mini is just iPad mini over there. So now that Apple has cleaned up the lineup, the hardware lineup, it's time for them to clean up iPadOS as well, which means that they need to create a new version of iPadOS which takes advantage of this big screen and also the M3 chip. Because at this point, the iPad doesn't really have a reason to exist because the MacBook is so good. Since Apple switched over to the M series chips, the MacBooks are just so amazingly fast and so much better than the iPads, and the battery life is so much better than iPads. The screens are better. Everything about the Mac is much better than the iPad. I think that if Apple makes all these changes to the hardware, if it introduces something really, really nice with the iPad Pro, that hardware needs incredible software. And if they just take what they have at the moment with iPadOS 17 and put that onto the iPad, I think that that's going to be a big waste of incredible hardware. So in order for Apple to make this entire lineup make sense, they need to really do something great with iPadOS next year, because what we have at the moment is just not good enough. So what do you think of this lineup? Are you excited to buy the iPad Pro, the new larger iPad Air, or are you just going to stick to the regular iPad or the iPad mini? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching iTablet. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, and comment #iTablet to enter the iPad mini giveaway when the channel reaches 2,000 subscribers.